González Laya is the Dean of Sciences at PO's Post School of International Affairs. She used to serve as Spain's foreign minister. She joins me now from Florence in Italy. I'm not sure whether there's fireworks for you today, but anyway, this dispute between Europe and the US, bearing in mind Ukraine and all of that, I mean, how much of it is rhetoric and how much of it is real?
No, let's put things into perspective, Richard. First, total unity between the US and Europe on defending Ukraine against this brutal attack by Russia, and hand in glove, working together, not a single difference. Second, Europe applauds the efforts taken by the Biden administration to rejoin the fight against climate change and to get serious at reducing emissions at home. This is good. It's good for the US, it's good for Europe, it's good for the world. But we are not in agreement over the manner in which the US will do that, because there is parts of this that will have negative spillovers on Europe, because the manner in which it's crafted, it's unfair. So what we are saying is, and I think it is normal to do that, is let's sit down and let's discuss this, and let's make sure that the US fight against climate change does not end up impacting negatively on the EU because of unfair trading practices.
Right, but the US knew all of this when they introduced that law. They must have known that Europe was going to be frothing. They clearly didn't care or didn't bother about it. I can see by your smile that there's a sort of a real politic about this. What does Europe do next? How far do they push it, do you think?
So Europe tells the US that if this is about fighting climate change, and we think it is, then the nationality of the cars matter less than the fact that the US impulses the sales of electric vehicles to reduce emission, and the nationality of the cars matter less. What matters is that the vehicles be electric. So whether they come from the US, whether they come from Japan, Korea, or the European Union, should make no difference, because otherwise what we have is an industrial policy which looks a bit protectionist. So first we sit down and we explain, and second we try to fix it like adults, adults that understand that it has to be done in a responsible manner. But I think it's important to hear the other side too. And the other side, again, is the EU, but it's also Japan, it's also Korea, it's many countries that want to help the US succeed in the fight against climate change, but don't want to be on the short end of the stick.
I want to just quickly turn subjects. You saw that you'll be aware the EU is suggesting to freeze both the development of COVID funds and others for Hungary. It could be worth 13 billion unless Hungary decides to follow various measures the EU is requiring on rule of law. It doesn't seem likely Hungary will, and the Commission and the Council are at some point going to have to decide whether to withhold this 13 billion euros. Do you think they have a stomach for a real fight with Hungary?
Well, it's about whether or not we are serious about respecting the rule of law in Europe. It's Article 1 of the European Union Treaty, and it's the treaty that every nation has signed on to. So it's just a question of coherence. We have to de-dramatize it, but we have to be firm about this, because again, Richard, we care about the rule of law in Europe. And because we care about the rule of law in Europe, we have to make sure that it is respected in all the member states. So we've got to do this in an intelligent manner, with a bit of a stick, a bit of carrot, but being serious. This is a fundamental principle of who Europe is.
Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you very much.